Deb's doing that today with Perrin Walker over Deathwish coffee. We're trying it for the first time. You've never tried this.
I almost did.
I got this from my niece, who's Perrin's cousin. Perrin, by the way, is my son, my one and only.
I'm also her best son.
With her best son.
Yep.
Yes, yes, yes. Deathwish coffee, I heard about this. My niece, she said it was too strong and she wasn't able to drink it. And she'd gotten it from a friend who had the same experience. And I had never heard of it. And I love strong drinks. I like strong coffee. I like dark red wine. I like Coke and spicy peppers. Spicy is awesome. The spicier, the better. Are you ready to take a sip?
Yeah, let's give it a try.
All right.
That is not too
I
strong.
am disappointed.
It's not that strong. It's good, but it's not strong. It's not nearly as strong as they were saying.
Yeah.
This
The
is
name really is overrated.
Average dark coffee, I would say.
It tastes, yeah, like a good dark coffee. It doesn't have a bitter taste, like a French roast. It's smoother. I mean, not strong at all, but we don't need the cream and sugar.
Yeah, this is fine.
6 ounces on the strong setting on the Keurig. It's as strong as it's going to get in that machine. Maybe this might be better percolated if it's that strong. I think it's a branding scheme. There's only one flavor.
It's not really that strong.
It's not strong. I feel
I was picturing
I feel disappointed.
I was picturing that my mouth would burn. But it's just an average dark coffee, yeah.
Yeah, I expected definitely something completely different. Perrin, you're my son.
Yep, I am. That's
and
true.
I want to thank you for hanging out with me today. And
Sure.
after you did all that work with us today, it's been a long day.
Anytime.
Well, since we're drinking coffee, might be interesting to talk about food. What food have you never been able to eat?
Crab and lobster. Yeah. The smell of it makes me sick in the store. It still does. I just can't finish it. It makes me sick later too. Upset stomach. But
that's interesting. How many times did I cook crab and lobster when you were growing up?
I don't think it bothered me.
No, how many times? How many times?
I don't think you ever did.
I never did.
Because I would have been sick.
I am not a fan.
I would have been a very sick kid.
I have made scallops and prawns. I love those.
Yeah, the scallops are fine. Yeah.
I still like scallops, even though I had a bad experience with them. I had a bad experience.
I've had more than one.
With the best tasting scallops I have ever had. It was in China. I was at a barbecue place. It was in Leshan, near Chengdu. I was staying with a friend and her parents, and they took me out to barbecue. And they served everything. I sampled it all, the duck feet, and it's faded a bit. And I remember the scallops served in their own shell. And they were so delicious, and I really enjoyed them. And I remember that the family ate one or two, and they saved the rest for me. I ate all of them. They were the most delicious scallops I'd ever had. The next day, we went to the Grand Buddha. It's a giant Buddha carving in a rock. It was a national holiday, so it was quite crowded, and I was sick. It was also my birthday.
Happy birthday.
I had the worst case of food poisoning that I have ever had in my life. It was awful. I didn't have to go to the bathroom urgently or anything at the resort. It was getting close, and later we were in the downtown area of Leshan. It's a smaller town. It was urgent, and we finally found a public toilet. I tried squatting the ground. It was all muddy and filthy. I was worried about some parts of my clothes or my bag touching the ground and getting shit on it. I was not able to go. It was the nastiest toilet I've ever seen. But it wasn't the nastiest day of my life because I had a good time that day. I really had an adventure. I spent it with friends. I enjoyed every minute of it, except for the food poisoning part.
Well, yeah.
And my friend Shary, who I was staying with, she was one of the interns working at our company. She was a student. It was the autumn festival, so she was home for the holidays, and she invited me to stay with her. She took care of me. And when I had the food poisoning, I knew I had some Pepto-Bismol tablets somewhere in my bag, and I couldn't find them, I finally found them later. But in the meantime, she took me to a TCM pharmacy, traditional Chinese medicine, and she bought me a package of these vials. They were, I think, mostly made of hyssop. It tasted like if you ate marijuana raw. She told me it would taste bad, but it wasn't that bad. But it didn't do anything. And she was surprised. She said, oh, it always works for me. But I did enjoy that adventure very much. I enjoyed meeting her family, and everything I experienced in China was well worth it. And what about you when you went to China?
I did have food poisoning from KFC there. It was a very quick meal decision, you know. Yeah. Sometimes you have to eat really quick before you go somewhere. That's the only time I had food poisoning, but I loved the food. It was very high in sodium. In Beijing is where I was, not Chengdu, which is a different part of the country completely.
Different tier.
But Beijing it was very, very salty. They put MSG in almost everything. I lost weight rapidly. I was only there for a little more than 30 days. I must have lost 10 pounds. Seriously.
Is that because you were eating a different diet, or you were...
It's both, the diet and the exercise. But I'm fairly active here. It had a lot to do with the diet, I would say, too. Everything I was eating was completely different.
Yeah, everything.
It was...
The ingredients.
It wasn't...
From the ground
a lot
up,
of it wasn't bad
different.
either. A lot of it wasn't bad at all.
No, not at all. But the quality of the ingredients is different. The sources... Milk, for instance, isn't milk. I don't know why they call it milk. They're talking about like a hemp milk or something. It tastes like that.
I tried something on the menu. I don't remember what it was, but it was unique. It wasn't found in an American KFC. I don't remember what vegetable was on it. It was different, and I got sick.
I have requested that hamburgers be cooked well done. Not because I like them overcooked, but because I don't want any red in there. And if you serve me a hamburger with any red in it, it could be pitch black outside. I will know. I feel this weird spongy feeling in my mouth, and that sensation in my mouth really turns me off. I can't tolerate that. It's just I know it's raw because of that sensation, and I never associated that with the hamburger being raw. Until recently, I never associated those two together. When you're not hanging out with your mother, Perrin, what are you busy doing?
Working.
And working...
Things around the home. My dog needs a lot of attention. The past year has been very different, so I don't get out as much as I used to, but
yeah.
I try to stay active. I try to do things.
And how does that match with your work?
Well, I work from home, so it's... I enjoy the flexibility with that. Mm-hmm. With being able to move my schedule around a bit.
Yeah. And you're in the insurance industry.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep, I do homeowners claim. Contents, property contents, theft claims is primarily what I do. It's a permanent work from home position. They were kind of doing that before the pandemic, actually. They were testing that out, so.
That's great.
And I don't have an office here to go to, so.
That's nice. It's
Yeah.
a pretty great commute. And I think a lot of insurance companies are going to be cutting their offices. They're not necessary. Now that they finally figured out how to make it work. Yeah. I used to be in technology, and for the life of me, I have not been able to understand why everyone is so far behind with these things. I could do 20 years ago. 10 years ago, it was really, really easy to do these things. And no company did it. Every company's just afraid. They're small companies, but it's not difficult.
When you walk around, like I take my dog sometimes downtown or just some of these random places, you see a lot of business property that is just empty. Kind of like what we had 10 years ago, but I think it's way worse. There's a lot of empty building spaces because of the service industry and because people are working from home.
Interesting. In this neighborhood, I've noticed
Less so here.
10 years ago, there were a lot of empty shops in this neighborhood. And now they're all full.
Yeah.
There's no spaces empty. Maybe there are once every handful, but you're not noticing. I don't notice them because they're kind of invisible because the rest of them are populated. It's hard to notice them. They see businesses around here seem to be thriving. Small businesses. Even hair salons, they stay open longer now. They're still able to cut their customers' hair. They're just working a lot more hours doing it, or working different hours. If you share a salon, of course, you have to. But you can stay open longer and still service people and make sure their needs are taken care of. It just takes creativity to make it happen. And I think a lot of restaurants, even in this neighborhood, have done well. You get creative and you take advantage of different ways to serve food. Although some of them have disappointed me. Some local chains, their menu has eroded in the quality of the ingredients. At Taco Bell, for instance, I don't like Taco Bell anymore. I don't. Their food doesn't taste good anymore. There's something different about it, and their menu is so limited. It's only tacos. We don't go there anymore, Dad and I. We decided we're not into Taco Bell anymore because their menu changed and their service changed. They're a chain that's not in danger of going under. Everyone goes through the drive-through there. It's right off the freeway. So how has your life changed in the last year with the pandemic in a major way?
It has changed a lot.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time at home and things are virtual. I mean, I drive, but typically it's shorter distances and it's local driving, hardly ever on the freeway. The people I'm around are the same people, kind of in rotation. Rather than maybe exploring a bit more, it's just a concentrated group of people. And I'm home a lot more. I'm using a lot more time watching TV. Could be news or whatever. Using the internet a whole lot more than before. And I'm driving shorter distances.
And you redid your flooring?
I did. I remodeled back last summer. I did my walls and my floors upstairs. And now I'm doing downstairs too. So that takes up some time too.
And when you're spending so much more time in your house, it's much more important that your house looks nice.
Yeah.
That you want to be in it.
Well, it's an old house. It's a fixer. So
yeah.
It's lucky that I'm home, that I can do that. Because when I first moved in, I did try to do things after work, but sometimes I was really tired.
Yeah.
I also worked swing shift, so I was trying to do this at 10 o'clock at night sometimes.
It would be easy to do it in the morning, but then you got to stop in the middle.
But I'm not going to get up early for that. And then clean
if
up
I
and
have
go
to
to
work
work.
in the evening, I can't start a project like that in the morning because
Yeah,
I will be right in the middle of my focus
painting
and going
is-
strong, and then I have to quit, and it will.
It requires,
Just upset me too
painting
much.
requires a lot of cleaning. So I would have to be ready to make sure I can go to work.
Yeah.
So I don't have paint in my hair and all over my face and on my clothes.
I find not driving to be so energizing. And by the time I get somewhere, I'm already exhausted.
I drive
if I
quite a
have to
bit.
drive.
I still do drive quite a bit. It's just not a very long distance. Typically take the dog somewhere.
But driving to the office, the last time I had to
Yeah.
do that, when it wasn't just down the street, it took over an hour to get to the office. And by the time I got there, I was so exhausted. I need a break before I can start work. It was terrible, and I didn't get used to it a week later. So, that was a temporary project that lasted a week. Really exhausted. It was just too much for me.
9
And
to
traffic
5.
was
9 to
terrible.
5 is
This
worse.
was going to Seattle.
9 to 5 is really terrible.
Yeah.
I used to commute to DuPont, which is 30 minutes out to here, but maybe 15 from here. But it sometimes 9 to 5. It could take 2 hours to get home,
Yeah.
and that's a waste of time.
And that's a total waste of time. I don't ever get that time back. I can earn more money. I can't earn more time unless I commit a crime.
Yeah.
Yeah. So time is valuable to me, more valuable than money. And yes, I'm doing things like Toastmasters and trying to improve my life. And if I had to work full time, 9 to 5, I would not be able to do that. And I would be living the same life I was before. Just staring at a computer all day, writing code, designing code. Because I won't have the benefits that I'm getting now from doing the things that I'm doing. What was your favorite thing, Perrin, to pretend when you were a kid?
I used to like playing with Legos, and I loved Roller Coaster Tycoon and Sim City. I would say, even today, I still play that stuff. That was probably where I did a lot of imagining and creating. In video games, it was, and like city builders and.
And it teaches you project management skills.
Yeah, I would say it could.
On a high level.
At first, eventually you get into certain habits when you play those games, and it's kind of the same thing. But
yeah.
I agree. It can be useful for that. It can be useful to learn to think kind of creatively. But I enjoyed that kind of stuff, I would say, most.
And generally more solitary type activities.
Yeah. I am a gamer, but I've never really done multiplayer. Not too much. Here and there. If somebody's over, then I'll do that. But I don't do anything online, really. I do a lot of stuff on my own with that.
I'm the same way. I don't play Words with Friends often. No, if I'm playing a game, I'm doing it when I'm in the bathroom and I'm playing the computer. I don't want to play online and wait for somebody and have to engage with them. I just want to be in my own head and zone. That's why I'm doing it in the first place. But I'm not going to be playing games like SimCity. This is a project, not a game.
Yeah.
And I have a life, so it doesn't really work for me too much.
It's harder to play these kinds of games as I'm older because I have to work.
And you have to devote time to the game.
And the game takes it could take a work day sometimes to do that kind of stuff. And it's hard to pick up where I've left off if I haven't played in a week.
Yeah. That's why I don't play sodoku. With a crossword, I can pick at it for a week on and off. I'm not sitting necessarily in one session completing it. I can't do that with one of those puzzles. I can't remember what I did 2 hours ago. It doesn't work for me. And I don't like games where I have to graduate through, advance through in order to play the game. I want to be able to just deal a new puzzle and have the challenges I need. And those games have all these bells and whistles. They're so slow and sluggish, all this crap on the screen. I just like it light and simple. If you could ask Louie one question, what do you want him to tell you?
I've asked him, and he's never told me what the meaning of life is. But maybe we can try it. Louie, come here, bud. Hey, Louie. I have a question for you. Come here. Come here. Louie. Hey. What do you think the meaning of life is, bud? Well, maybe I'm going to find out one day.
You'll find out one day.
I think it's belly rubs. There we go.
Hey, there we go. Deb did that with Perrin and Louie and Deathwish.